We were approached by the District of Muskoka to um, investigate the possibility of our organization providing emergency childcare once again for this round of school closures. And so with the support of our board of directors, of course, asked our employees at our school age programs if anyone was available to work in emergency childcare, since we did have those programs operate in the past. And unfortunately, none of our staff, only one, had the ability and availability to work. So obviously we can't offer any childcare programming with only one educator. So we had to decline the offer to operate emergency childcare for this round. It was a struggle the last time too, sort of, before summer last year when the schools were closed. We really struggled then as well to have enough staff to support the numbers of children needing emergency care and the needs of the children at our programs. We struggled with staffing, not having enough back then as well. So it's not a new problem. Sorry, I think it's just a problem that's getting more serious now.
I guess it may be hard to totally pick one thing, but what could you attribute staffing issues to here, Leanne?
I think, it is really difficult to pick one thing. Most of our employees that work at our school age programs, of course, throughout the school year, those programs are mainly 2 to 3 hours per day during the hours of after school. So our programs operate from 3 until 6. So that is when we need our educators to be on site working at the programs. The odd school, not many, but at some of the schools, we also have a before school program, which is just 1 hour from 7:30 to 8:30. So, if someone was only working in an after school program, say, even as an early childhood educator, which would be the sort of maximum number of hours, which is 3 to 3.25 per day. That's not a lot of hours in a week. So majority, if not all of our educators, almost all of them have another job that they do during the day before they would come and work at one of our before and after school programs. So if we were to run a full day emergency childcare program, people have other jobs, so they're just not available during the day. So I think that's probably the main reason why people were not available this time, is they all just have another job and couldn't, that they don't want to give up to work in a full day program that may or may not last for more than 2 weeks. And secondly, I think people are feeling less and less supported in the system. So, we all know this isn't a news flash, that the availability, for example, of the rapid tests are, it's few and far between. And there's no opportunity for people to have a PCR test now, as there was in the past. The schools closed, but yet emergency childcare and even our full day childcare centers are still open, with no availability for our people to have a test if they want to have a test, if they suspect they may have, symptoms of COVID, or maybe have had a close contact, or they're exposed. So a lot of, we feel, that's a health and safety issue. And we feel that our people are in a vulnerable situation working with, in our full day childcare centers, young children who can't be vaccinated yet. Mm-hmm. And even in our school age programs, it's only been very recent that they've been able to have a vaccination. So people are just, I think, feeling a little more unsafe as this pandemic continues.
Leanne, and not to put you in a position of pitting you against the province or anything like that, but when you hear the province announce we're going to offer childcare services for parents that their kids can't go to school but they need to work, and it's sort of a blanket statement, does it feel frustrating for you to kind of hear that and know that that's not going to be as easy as they're making it seem to be?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. It's very frustrating. And, probably the next minute after the announcement was made that schools were not reopening after the Christmas break, our phones started ringing. Parents were inquiring, when will we be hearing about emergency childcare? Are you offering emergency childcare? And for the majority of the people, they don't know what has to go on behind the scenes. They just don't have the knowledge. to understand what it takes to get a program like this up and running in such a short time. And then, there's sort of a whole bunch of spokes in this wheel to work out. There's staffing, for example, from our end. There's following licensing requirements, working with the school boards within their guidance, which is different from ours in a lot of ways because we're classified as licensed childcare. It's the district working with parents to determine eligibility, the district communicating with the province for funding. There's just so many moving parts that need to be worked out before a program can actually get started. But yes, the media, I guess, the government, things people hear and read on social media and the news just makes it sound like, okay, the schools are closed and now we're going to be offering and opening emergency childcare for your school age children and it's free. So people don't understand. They think, oh, that's the best news ever, and then think that it can just happen.
So, again, this is going to be probably a situation where there's not really a one answer scenario, but, to move forward from this, obviously, we're still going to have issues like this. We're still going to need emergency childcare services. What are some of the solutions, I guess, that we could look to make this a bit easier on organizations like yours to offer childcare services when they are needed?
That is a question of the day, and that's a very big question. Previous to last year, I guess even the beginning of the pandemic, even previous to the pandemic, to be honest, it was difficult for us to recruit people to work at our before and after school programs, our school age programs. And as I said at the beginning of our conversation, mainly because of the hours, like people just can't make a living working 3 or 4 hours a day for the majority of the year. So everyone, has another job that, as I said, they can make work out during the day, and then they come and work at our programs with us during those after school hours. So even prior to the pandemic, it was a bit of a struggle to find people who could make those hours work. But of course, the pandemic, threw a wrench into everyone's lives. And I think people are uneasy about all sorts of different things. One thing for sure is sometimes people are uneasy about working in 2 different locations. So if they have another job and then they come into one of our programs, we are permitted to have that happen, which we're grateful for. Because otherwise I don't think we would have any staff. But I think that sometimes makes people feel uneasy too. It's just one more group of people that an educator would be exposed to, but they know they need both incomes to live their lives and meet their financial needs. I don't really know what the answer is. I wouldn't want to have any, I guess, sort of changes or revisions made to any of the requirements for experienced educated staff, because I think that's very important in our programs, and we can't lose sight of the importance of having qualified, experienced, educated people in our programs working with the children. So it's not like we can take away the qualifications part. I would never want to see that happen. I suppose, additional funding or some sort of an emergency type addition to their rate of pay may attract some people. But again, I'm not sure that would be enough. And with the emergency childcare programs being short term, people just aren't in a position to give up their other job to come and work at a program for us for 2 or 3 weeks or 4 weeks, whatever it may be. So I really don't know what the answer to that is. Try and recruit more people to the early childhood education programs in our community colleges. That would be helpful. And then, continue organizations like ours, continue to support them on their student placement so they can get that firsthand experience working in licensed childcare. I don't really have any other answers than maybe that would be a big suggestion. Yeah, and we, in licensed childcare, we do compete with the school boards. A lot of early childhood educators either use sort of licensed childcare as a stepping stone to get a job, get in with the school board. Obviously, the benefits are attractive there. As is the opportunity to have a pension plan, which we can't offer that here at our organization. So things like that, I guess, would be nice in the future to see even out between licensed childcare and school boards, but that's not anything I don't think that can be solved overnight either. And I'm not sure that that is the complete solution. I do think it would be helpful.